Oops, here we go. Alright, so this is Chapter 6, CCNA1, Chapter 6 PT. If it didn't work for you, this is exactly right out of the discussions that I loaded for you. What to do. And so, the first thing I am going to do is I am just going to take the chart, which I have over here, right? And so our chart, I am just going to start assigning things and turning them on, because I know that is the first thing we need to know, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we open up that device. If we need to power it off, right here, this is the power switch. We could throw modules in here if we needed them. We'd have to power it off. And then these are the modules over here. Right, this is you can see them right here. When you click on them, they change. Anyway, so that's that. But this is easy mode. Stay out of that. So first thing, typically when we start a router, it actually says, do you want to use the GUI, and you say no, I want to do it by CLI, because that's what we're learning right here. And so we start that bad boy off, and then we get to this point. And so anyhow, we're there, and if we look at our chart says we need to have these IP addresses in this router. So the first thing is the name of the router I can see. So I'm going to say enable, right? And then I'm going to say configure terminal, because I want to modify things, right? If I went back to exit, that gives me back into privilege exec mode, and I can do all my show commands, such as show run, if I ever want to see what's going on. So enter brings you down one line, spacebar brings you down a full page. And so now I'm going to go configure terminal, interface, G00. Actually, no, I'm going to rename it first. So I say host name, and I say college. That's what it's called in this chart. So now I say interface G00, IP address 172.16.5.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, so that puts wherever my G01, which if I wanted to see my G01, I just could hang out here, and so that's my G01. Actually, but I just assigned G00, so that's my G00 network. Notice it's still red. Why is it still red? All router interfaces are automatically shut down, so we say no shutdown. Bam. As you can see, it now will go, this side's green, this side's orange, it will green up. That is spanning tree running. Okay, so I also know that it's going to ask me for a description. I think I forgot to tell you guys in class how to do this. So if we want a description would just be like, if I went in this interface, I'm like, oh, G00's down, where's G002, without having to look at my documentation. So this is just one way of documenting. So I said description. And the description is connection to the faculty VLAN, alright, or faculty network. We'll just say faculty network, as we haven't got to VLANs. Alright, so we have that one done. So I could do exit and then go into interface G01, or I could have just put G01 from that interface mode. Okay, so after I do that, I can do some other things. So here's my up key. Look at this. Oh, up key. And instead of typing this all out, I just up keyed to where I did before, and I changed the IP address. The subnet mask is the same, 192.168.5.1. Okay, so press enter there, and I can just say, hey, no shutdown from up key, and then I can go straight to my description, and my description I can change to, oh, this is the admin network, so I will say admin network, enter. Okay, and that's all hunky-dory with those interfaces. I said write run, we could do copy run start. Notice it says enter the first time, because it says, hey, the first time you do this, are you sure you want to save it to this? You say yeah. And so notice all of our lights are green now. It doesn't mean we're working. Alright, so what's next? Well, we go to our little chart, and I'm gonna go to the admin switch just because I'm over here, and so I go to the CLI there, and I say enable and configure terminal, just as I did before. And so the admin switch has the host name of admin. Okay, so then instead of going into the interfaces, it's a layer 2 switch, so I can't assign. So let's just try assigning an IP address to interface, IP add. Oh, invalid input. Why? So let's go IP add question mark. Unrecognized command. IP question mark. The only thing we can do is DHCP. Okay, so what that tells us is we can't assign that address to that interface. So the interface we assign it to is what's called a SVI, and it's interface VLAN 1. Another place we can find that is if we did a show run on this, or do show run from configuration, and when we tab down, we can see all of our interfaces, and then right here, the one we have created is VLAN 1. This is going to allow us to manage anything in VLAN 1, and by default all these ports are in VLAN 1, so that's what we are configuring. Okay, so we say no shutdown, oops, but we spell it right, and then we say IP add, and if I look at my pool, it says my IP address is 192.168.5.252. Okay, there we go. Oops, didn't put in a subnet mask, so we put in our subnet mask. And so now it's in that network. So the next thing we'll put a description here. Description, management for the switch, okay? And that just puts that on the interface. If you want to know what that's actually doing, you just go show running config, and we go down this interface VLAN 1. Notice it says description, management for the switch. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, even though it hasn't asked me for this yet, notice our default gateway is out. Okay, so routers don't need default gateways because they use routes, and this router knows the route to the 172.16.5 with a /24 network because it's directly connected in the 192. Actually, it did it opposite. This is the 172, this is the 192. It knows that because it's programmed in its interface. We don't need a default gateway on here. On the switch, the reason we need a default gateway is if we want to manage that switch from here, it needs a default gateway. We actually could leave a default gateway out if we're just going to manage it from this computer and this computer. And I notice I put my computers in the wrong network. Says admin would make more sense as, oh no, they're right. Never mind. Okay, anyways, so I'm going to set up this default gateway. And what is the default gateway? How do I get out of my network? Well, if we look right here, this router interface, if I'm in this switch, this is the default gateway. This PC is going to have that same default gateway. Anything in this network is going to have this default gateway. Just like anything in this network over here, this is the way out of this network, this is the default gateway. Hopefully you guys are getting that. So, we say IP, default gateway. And what is our default gateway? Well, it should be G01 of the switch. So let's see what it is. G01. And then we just go to our documentation, and G01 is 192.168.5.1. Okay, so now let's look at this from a show run. Show run, bang. So we have our VLAN, and notice our network is 192.168.5. All right, our default gateway has to be in that 192.168.5 if we have a /24. So /24. Everything has to be the same up to here, right? First 3 octets have to be identical with a /24 or 255.255.255.0. Okay, so now we've gotten that much done. So now, go to my PCs, figured out the default gateway, so I might as well do them. So this is Dean X. My chart says 192.168.5.10. My default gateway is 192.168.5.1. Alright, and so if we went to this command line right there, we could say ping 192.168.5.1. That's our default gateway. Oh, look, we can get there. Let's see if we can get out of our network. We go to the 172.16.5.1, which is the other router interface, and we can. So that's telling us that we can actually get to this network, but we haven't programmed anything besides that other router interface. So we go to our other device, desktop. Okay, so Dean Y gets the IP address of 192.168.5. We know that's the same. 11. It'll put us in a /24 by default, and then we put in 192.168.5.1. Yay! Okay, so now we're gonna go over here. Do the same thing we did for the other side. Enable, configure terminal, hostname, and this one is called faculty. And then we are going to go into our interface VLAN 1. We're going to set an IP address as it states for VLAN 1, 172.16.5.2, 255.255.255.0, no shutdown. And then we are going to set our default gateway, IP default gateway 192. Just kidding, that was just a test. Remember, this was the default gateway for this side is this other side, so it's G00, which has an IP address of 172.16.5.1. Alright, so if we do a show run, oops, now I have a bad translation here. Let's see if I can get it out. How we abort that is we say Control-Shift-6. If we tab that, it would stop that. Most things can get stopped by Control-C, but if they can't, stuff like trace routes, we say Control-Shift-6. Alright, so what do we do? What was I doing here? Oh, I was doing a show run. So we show run in config. There we go. And notice once again, we have a /24, so the first three have to be identical. The default gateway must be in the same network as any device in that network, because default gateway is how it gets out. Alright, so now we have that done. And now we go to our computer, 172.16.5.10. Notice it does not give us the right subnet mask because it's using a classful boundary, which is different than a 192. It's a class B boundary, and our default gateway is 5.1. Let's check it out. Ping 172.16.5.1. Oh, that works. So now let's try to ping one of those computers we set up before. 192.168.5.10. Oh, look at that. It is pinging and everything is happy. If you want to see what a ping looks like, hopefully, you guys have already seen what a ping looks like when it fails, so I'm not going to go there. But now our Professor X. Let's see, what is Professor X? 172.16 5.10. Oh, we already used that one, so my chart's actually going to be wrong now. So, but I used the wrong IP address, the wrong place, but it doesn't matter on the end devices. So I'm going to use 5.11 here. Change my subnet to a /24, so it's in the same network as everything else. 172.16.5.1, and we're good. All right, so now maybe you guys think you're done. Let's find out if we're done. How do we telnet? We say telnet. Let's just try our switch there. 172.16.5.2. Oh, connection closed because it's just wide open, not doing stuff right. All right, so now let's just test if we can. Maybe you guys want to know how to console. So we go down here to a console. The blue one, same color as console, goes in the RS-232 or serial connector, goes into the console port. Alright, so one side serial, one side RJ45. So we go in there, then we do this terminal emulation. It has the right settings set by default, and we can just console in. That's not a good thing, right? We want to password that. That's going to be part of our instructions. So now we're going to get into the deep dark instructions, and notice that anytime we click like this, it's actually virtualizing a console. So we named our faculty switch, and so now we won't need to secure access to all configuration lines. That's the console and the line VTYs, as we can see right here. Line con 0, line VTY 0 through 4, blah blah blah. Okay, so we're on the faculty switch, and I think that's what it's talking about right now. So we say configure terminal. Alright, line con 0, password, console 1. That's the password I'm going to use to console now, right? And then I say login, and now I could do an exit, or I could just say line VTY 0 space 15, because as we can see we have 15 there, so this is going to allow me to have 16 connections to this through telnet or SSH. Telnet right now, we're not going to set up SSH, so we say password, but instead of console 1, we say telnet 1. That's going to be our telnet password, and we say login. Alright, so we have that part done. And I'm going to save it just in case. So I use WR, which means write run, but you can do copy run start. Now what else we're going to configure? We're going to configure, so we have to put password in to get into enable mode. So we're going to say enable secret password 01. Alright, so now that where that password is going to be is if we look there, we went to user mode. Now we need to get back in, so we say password 01. Oops. Actually, let's not. Let's find out where we are. Alright. So this must be our telnet or our console password. So we'll say console 1. Alright, there we are. Now we're in privileged user mode. And we say enable, and we say password 01. Back to there. Yeah! But we want a password. We want to protect those passwords too. Those clear text passwords we had. Let's do a show run. If we go down all the way to the bottom, look at they're in clear text. So what we're going to do is service, password, encryption. There you go. And so that switch is done. We're going to go now, if we go to our computer here, go into our console or our command prompt, and we say telnet. Let me find the IP address of my switch here. My switch is 172.16.5.2. Okay, so we're not doing a ping, we're doing a telnet actually. So telnet. Look at that. Okay, and so then we say telnet 1, and we're in. Say enable password 01. Look at that. It's just managing. We can type all of our commands from the command prompt of a computer. That's how we would remotely manage that switch. Okay, so we have that one set up. So now we want to do the other one. So first things first, line con 0, password console 1, login. Then we say line bty 0 space 4, password telnet 1. Log in, exit, enable secret, password 01, exit, copy, running config, startup config. Okay, so we have that. So let's see. Let's read our steps here. Determine all the values that are missing. We did that. That was default gateways. Configure all devices with missing default gateways. We did that. We named the faculty switch. Secure access to all configuration lines on the faculty switch. Insert all plain text passwords are encrypted. That's service password encryption. Configure the proper banner on faculty switch. Oh, okay. So now we want to log in on here. So this isn't the faculty switch, but this is the other one. So we say configure terminal. Banner. MOTD. Okay, and then we do a pound symbol, authorized access only. Alright, so we have that. So now what that's going to do is if we go back out, let's exit. Okay, so this is us consoling in. And as we can see, before we consoled in, it says authorized access only. What we can do for that banner message of the day is put in a few different things. And some of the things are, I don't know, maintenance. This device is supposed to be down, but if it was down, then it wouldn't even tell you that. But if someone was in there, they could see that. And the biggest thing is just this due diligence saying, hey, unless you're supposed to be in here, don't get in here. Alright, so we have that all done. Now, let's get on the college router and set up telnet and password the service password encryption, and then we're good to go. Okay. So enable secret password 01, line con 0, password console 1, login, line bty. This one actually has only 5 by default, so 0 through 4. Line VTY 0 through 4. And we say password telnet1 login. Alright, so then we want to do service password encryption, and guess what? We're done, but we're going to save it, right? We're going to save that, we're going to make sure we're done. So we're going to try to telnet into our default gateway from this side. Telnet 190.168.5.1. Alright, and we say telnet1, telnet1, enable, password 01, password 01. Alright, apparently I'm typing them wrong the first time. And we could telnet from here, or we could actually drop down. Actually, that accesses the telnet all the way, but we'll just say, let's telnet to the other side, see if we can do that. 172.16.5.1, telnet 1, enable, and password 01, and we could telnet somewhere from there as well. So we're telnetting to a telnet to a telnet, right? Or telnetting to another telnet. So we could telnet to 172, the other switch. But we have already tested that switch. Let's test 192.168, the last switch that we haven't tried to telnet it to. There's 5.252. Telnet 1. And there you have it. We can telnet into our final device for just a massive telnet party. Telnet 1. So notice I went from user mode there. Anyways, that's all you really need on that. Make sure you save that. Then you can save it up here and send it to me if you wish. Anyhow, hopefully that answers any questions you might have had. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks.